Good deal. Awesome, guys. Happy Monday to you. Got some new faces on here. That's awesome. You guys can mic off at this point. So Monday's a free for all for now. I want to see what kind of struggles you had this weekend or what kind of scripting opportunities you had that we can help work through. Anybody, any participants have some things that really needed some help?
I do have someone that I spoke to on Friday, and I wanted to role play with someone and have me be her. She's a FSBO, and she just shut me down really fast. I want to see how someone else might handle it.
All right, Anthony, why don't you give it a shot? You're actually really good at FSBOs.
Oh, all right, let's try it out.
And he's got a great way of thinking outside the box. So take notes on this. Good stuff. Plus, we're recording, so if you want to go back and watch it later on, it'll be there.
Cool.
All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, you're a FSBO. You called a FSBO. Is that correct?
Yes.
Green.
My name is Angela.
Hey, Angela, how's it going? This is Anthony with Keller Williams.
Hi.
Hey, I just noticed that you have your house on the market. Is that correct?
We just decided to take it off the market. We're just gonna hold off for a few months.
Oh, okay. So did you have it on the market by yourself, or did you have it on the market with an agent?
Yes, by ourselves.
By yourselves? Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, what's causing you to take it off the market now?
We really just don't want anyone in our house.
I could completely appreciate that. I completely understand that with everything going on. So what were you going to do once you sold it? What were your plans? Were you moving out of Tucson? Were you sticking around Tucson?
We are going to move into a retirement community.
Okay, awesome. Is that retirement community here in Tucson?
Yes.
Okay.
Green Valley, actually.
Okay, Green Valley. Okay. And so you're saying that you don't want anybody in your home, and I completely understand that. What measures did you take when you had it on the market to still market it but not allow anybody in your home?
We stopped showing it once this whole thing started up. So before that, we were allowing people in our home.
I see. So have you heard about the things I do to help protect you as a seller when it comes to things like that?
I don't have the capability to do anything besides show people my house.
I completely understand, and that's why I asked. Do you know the things that I do and the things I have in place to protect you as a seller?
No, I don't.
So that's a great reason why you and I should meet. Do you have any availability this afternoon around 5 or maybe tomorrow around 3?
I really would like to wait a few months and wait for all of this to blow over.
You know, and again, I appreciate that. However, you and I know that right now the market's very, very hot, and we don't know what's going to happen when this all blows over. How about we meet? I show you all your options, including waiting, and then you get to choose the best one that fits for you. What time would be better for you?
I guess I could try to meet next week. I'll talk to my husband and we'll have to decide.
Okay, sounds great. So when do you think you'll talk to your husband?
He is asleep right now, so I'll wait for him to wake up. So maybe in the next hour or two.
Well, if I call you around noon to confirm our appointment, that'd be great, correct? You'll know by then, right?
Yes, but I'm really still not very sure about, I'd like to wait the next few months.
No worries. And like I said, what we're going to go over is just your options. If you choose at the time to choose me to sell your home, then we'll move forward. If it's not the right thing for you, at least you know all your options. In the meantime, I do want to send you some general information. So what is your email address?
Okay. This is my email address.
Okay, great. So I'm going to call you around noon. That'll give you plenty of time to talk to your husband, and I will pencil you in for now for 3 o'clock this afternoon. If you do have any questions, you will get an email from me, so you feel free to give me a call.
Okay, sounds good. That was good. I had a much shorter conversation with her. I tried to acknowledge that she wanted to wait, and when she specifically said she didn't have the capability to do anything else, like anything virtual. Because I tried to explain to her that she, you know, there were other options. She didn't have to let people into her house. We could come up with some other options, and maybe even virtual. And she didn't, I don't know if she didn't hear how I said it, because she said, well, I don't have those capabilities to do that. And I said, well, I'd be happy to help you with that if you'd like. And then her final word was, and she was very passive, you know, and passive aggressive, like she was very quiet. And she repeated twice to me that she wanted to wait. And then when I said, you know, I'd be happy to help her to show her something virtual, my virtual presentation. And she said, you know, now you're becoming really pushy. And then she just hung up on me. So you gave me some more things to work with. I think what I liked that you said is, even though I kept telling you I wanted to wait another 3 to 4 months, you said, look at all the different options, including waiting another 3 or 4 months, because you didn't disregard what she said, but you just wanted her to know that I heard you, I understand that, but I also have some other things that I'd like to go over with you. So I'll have to try something like that, a little bit more, just making sure I completely acknowledge.
Another thing that, and I didn't say it because I was in the moment, is basically isolating the objection. A lot of people will tell you, okay, and this is a good way to do it. Other than the coronavirus, is there any other reason why you wouldn't sell today, or you wouldn't, let someone in your home, or whatever, however you want to word it? And then that basically isolates it, because if there's no other objection, then that's the only objection you have to handle. Which I kind of only handled that objection, but there could have been more. And if I would have said only, or other than, then I would have known that was the only objection, because your subconscious is not going to let you contradict yourself.
That makes sense. Okay.
Someone's been paying attention.
And plus, at the beginning, when you said, and I've heard this a lot, is what was it that you said? That, what were your plans? If all of this wouldn't have happened, what would have been your plans? So that was, I think I need to utilize that more as well. I feel like I do just need to make more conversation. And of course, just like you said, really pinpoint if that's the only reason. Because I felt like I was getting somewhere with her, and then she just was like, nope, and she hung up on me. But I'm not going to give up on her. I wrote her address down so I could find her again, and I will. I'll just give her time to breathe, and then I'll try her again.
I have a suggestion right there. You have her address. Send her a thank you card. Hey, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it. If you need anything, give me a call.
I will. Yeah, definitely.
Great point.
That was really good. Thank you.
Awesome. That's the whole point of these calls, this class, guys, is to get together and work through the situations you've had through the weekend. So fantastic. The one thing I want to point out that Anthony did awesomely is he asked for the email address. One more piece of confirmation. Like, you usually get the phone number and the address, but getting the email, hey, I'd like you to send you some information. What's your email address? So the two things I would change on that is the word generic and the word what's. I would like to send you some information, not some generic information.
Oh, did I say generic?
Yeah, you said generic.
Oh, yeah, I got to fix that if I said that.
Yeah, I'd like to send you some information on your house. Tell me your email address. It's an embedded command, and it's not a question that they can say no to. I'd like to send you some information on your property. Tell me your email address.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can, if you're having a little bit more of a friendly conversation, what email would you like me to send that to? Then it's going in for the assumptive close on the email, because you're assuming they're going to give you an email address. You just want them to choose which one to give to you.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Dan, what's your thoughts on?
Sorry.
All right, I got two questions.
I just had a quick question. Are we still trying to meet up with people, or would we do kind of like this, like a Zoom kind of a situation, or? Because I don't think that was very clear either. It was just kind of like, let's meet.
Yeah, on the call they didn't go over. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm still, if they're okay with meeting with me, then I'm still meeting with them, keeping social distance and stuff like that. And I haven't really, I guess you could say, embedded that script in yet, that I'm starting to do Zoom and stuff like that. So I'm still kind of new to that, and when I'm in the moment, I'm going for the appointment. Sometimes
Yeah.
I need to remind myself that the appointment is still Zoom or Facebook Messenger or something like that. So I need to start saying that as well.
You will get some kickback on some clients. I've had some people like, you know what, I don't want to meet. I'm really worried about people in my home, and I don't want to have people coming in and out. And out of no disrespect, I'd rather not meet right now. I was like, that's perfectly okay. Why don't we set up a time with you and your wife later this afternoon where we could do a digital meeting where the three of us could be on a video conference together. I can share some of the information I have for you. You guys can see it right on the screen. And that way you get all the information. It's just the same as if I was sitting across the table from you, and it keeps your guys' safety in check.
Cool.
If you get a kickback on that, I'm like Anthony. I still like the face-to-face. I'm a very touched agent. Like, I like to be in person. That's my energy gets conveyed easier that way. But you definitely have that opportunity if they give you a resistance to that, to flipping it to doing a digital presentation where you can actually do your full buyer script, your full seller stuff all on your Zoom, where you can share the screen to them, which is pretty cool. I've done a couple buyer consults that way. I'm still a little, hesitant in doing so because, again, it's the conveyance of energy. I myself had to change my entire, armada of understanding, but it's evolving. But great question. Jason, you had a question?
Hey, Dan, what's your thoughts on, for Angela, since you have her address and Satella was telling you send a thank you card, of sending some sort of, even though Angela's trying to get her as a listing, but give her some sort of suggestion as a for sale by owner. So she's showing them that there is value in what she has, something that they wouldn't think of. What's your thoughts on that?
Come from contribution. Whatever you guys can give out to clients, do so. I mean, a lot of for sale by owners don't know the resources that are available to them through us. You can sign up if you want to for Land Voice, and you can actually give a for sale by owner a Land Voice packet for their house. They can put a number on the sign that says text for information. And what that'll do is it'll text information to whatever client is looking at that house and send that client's contact information to you as the agent. Well, you're not representing the seller and their for sale by owner, but you're still capturing buyer leads that way. But it comes as a big benefit for the potential FSBO for them having this number, and they don't have to answer the phone calls, and it's an automated system. So it's a lot of value there. So yeah, absolutely give some value. Another thing I would do is, for a sale by owner that's kind of, leery on it, do a completely customized pre-listing packet for them through Michael Lewis Marketing Suite or through Command. And then that way you can do from top to bottom, everything that we do for our listings. You guys have seen those listing packets, and send it to their house. Color pictures, something like that, print it out the office, whatever you need to do. But that way it's not just a digital form where some people might open the attachment, some people not. If you send them something in a manila envelope, or just drive by and leave it on their doorstep, with your business card stapled to it or something, it just gives that much more, light on what you're willing to do. And there's a big process in gaining a FSBO, and that's just showing you that you're willing to do more than other agents to earn their business as well as sell their house for more. So, Angela, thank you for bringing that up. That was a fantastic start. Who else has something else for this weekend? Anything interesting? Crickets? Cricket. All right. Who's got something they're struggling with, phone call wise, conversation wise, client wise?
Dan, I had an experience this weekend.
What you got?
So I met this client, I think I mentioned him before, when I was showing another house, and his friend had him on her phone, and he's like, yeah, I might want to buy this house. So I've literally never met this client. They're in Washington State. And I've showed him houses virtually for the last 3 weeks. And Saturday we finally wrote an offer.
Awesome. Congrats.
And it was accepted. And then he was upset because the inspector wasn't going to want anyone there. So I did have to talk them both down, the inspector and him, and assure him that I could still let the inspector in. He was going to do a fantastic job. And I sent him a sample report to see how in-depth the inspection would be. So It's just obviously a time of high emotions, and I think
Right.
it worked out well, but it's been a obviously really interesting transaction because I've never had one out of state, a person I never met who's never seen the house who's under contract.
When's your inspection?
Next Saturday. So I assured him that I would let the inspector in, I would hang out outside the whole time, and I asked the inspector if he would give a virtual tour at the end, and he agreed.
Perfect.
And then he thought the inspector was great, so we're good to go.
Perfect. That's what I was going to ask, is if your inspector was willing to do a virtual like recap, go over the items that he thought were of concern so that the client can see them in person or in person. So
Right, exactly.
that's awesome. Good stuff. That's
Letting people know it is possible.
Yes, ma'am. So that's awesome. Yeah. If you guys do run across a client that has those concerns, like I want to be a part of this house, I want to see this house, blah, 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 then if the inspectors are saying, no, I don't want anyone there, great. Have your client show up, kick the inspector out for a little bit, let the clients walk through, and then put the inspector back in. You can socially distance one at a time in a house, but I think that you did a great job on that one, Mara, just by having them, do a virtual tour at the end of it or during it or anything that comes up of concern. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
I would love to know what conversation Tracy's got going on right now. Seems fun. All right. Anyone else got something from this weekend? Guys, we got a few more minutes, and this is all about adding value to your day. Plus, we got a broker on, or she's fantastic. Anyone?
Okay, so
Bueller?
let's do a script for the people that call you up and go, what if I want to cancel?
Ooh.
We're getting a lot of those. Okay.
A lot
So,
of those.
Big Dan, you're the agent. You call me up and tell me your client wants to cancel.
Are you the other agent?
I'm going to be your broker.
Even better. I actually had this call on Saturday. Hey, Jody, it's Dan. Just want to give you a call on a situation. I've got the seller. I just got a call from the buyer's agent that the buyer is trying to back out, and they're going to do anything they can to cancel. We've already gone through inspections. We're approaching closing. Was supposed to be on the 8th of this month, and the appraisal was actually canceled by the buyer. The issue I have is that there's some repairs on the house that were already done and paid for. What do you advise?
So we represent the seller and we have a closing in 2 days. Is the buyer documents at closing at the escrow company yet?
No, nothing's came from the lender because the buyer canceled the appraisal on
Okay, so have you
Thursday.
cured the buyer for non-delivery of documents?
Not yet.
Okay, that's today. We're doing that now.
Yes.
You're going to send over a cure notice that per the contracts line such and such, you're going to cure them for non-performance of delivery of documents.
Yep.
Okay. What kind of conversations have you had with the seller and what are they looking for? What do they want? Remember, we're not a party to the transaction. So what is the seller telling you they want and what advice have you given them?
So the seller is super interested in selling the house. This is putting her in a financial hardship, and she's becoming very stressed about the situation. She just wants to sell the house. I advised her of the options that she can consult with an attorney if she'd like to find out her rights and which path to go down. I also told her that I was going to discuss this with you in detail, as well as the team owner of the other agent's team, to make sure that we have, communication on all lines very open, and that I feel that if the buyer sends over an addendum for the coronavirus, that she should not sign it and let them out of the deal.
Okay, so the coronavirus addendum has 4 options. Option 1, extend the close of escrow date. Option 2, if any of outside third parties are closed, we can actually just extend by up to 10 days once that third party vendor is reopened. But right now we have nobody closed, so that shouldn't hinder us at all. So I would be okay if they agreed to that box. The next box says if they're closed and closed for more than 30 days and that they can't, that one or the other parties can cancel escrow and the buyer gets their earnest money back. I don't like option number 20, line 24 at all.
No.
And then your fourth option is whatever you make up on the second page. So it's a bunch of lines with a box. So
Right.
we're not going to make up anything. So if we wanted to extend the closing and check the first box, yay. The second box on line 18, yay, but nothing else at this time. And it's by mutual agreement of both parties. My biggest concern is that your seller has probably invested funds. Is there any amount of money that your seller is willing to accept to allow the buyer to walk away?
I believe that she would be willing to accept them covering the expense of the repairs done.
Okay, and how much is earnest money?
1,500,
Okay, and what are her repair expenses?
3,250.
$3,250. So you could be proactive, your seller, and put together an addendum to send over to the other side that basically says buyer and seller mutually agree to cancel escrow upon buyer submitting. Boy, you did the math. You killed me on the math. You have 1,500. She needs 3,250. So that's
1,750.
1,750.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just that the buyer increases the earnest money an additional 7,250, and all earnest money shall be released to the seller.
3,250.
So it would be
Yes.
increased to a total of 3,250. Yeah. So we've got earnest money of 15, so she would have to add another 1,750 to make it 3,250. So give them an opportunity, be proactive if your seller's okay with that, and give them an opportunity to sign something like that.
Okay.
We just did one of those where there was nothing wrong with the septic except for it was very old and they thought that it might have an issue in the future. So the buyer requested a brand new septic. They abandoned the old one properly per the city guidelines. They put in a new one. And now the buyer wants to walk away. And the seller was happy with their old septic. So we're giving them an opportunity to deposit $8,400 in escrow, and it would be given to the seller, and then that would be mutual cancellation. If we do any kind of mutual cancellation, then the seller's not going to have recourse later for damages. If we're fighting, remember to let escrow know immediately in writing per email that your seller is not in agreement to cancel and that they are not to release the earnest money to the buyer. So let them know, escrow know immediately, because the escrow officers with their staff are making those decisions rapidly and giving that money to a party that may not be deserving of the funds. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
be careful with that as well.
I've already sent the email off and let her know, and she said, cool, keep me blessed.
Okay. Any other questions on that one, you guys?
I don't know if it's a question, but more of a comment. Something similar like that happened to me last week. However, it was a denial because the buyer lost his job, and I'm working with the buyer.
Okay.
They started having that trying to have that conversation with me. I'm like, look, this is a loan denial. This isn't by choice.
Right.
So the seller does not have any recourse on that.
Typically, no. You would take the loan denial letter, you would create a disclosure notification form, and it would be your cover sheet to your loan denial letter, and it would basically just say, per the loan denial attached, buyer hereby does not qualify for the loan. Earnest money shall be returned to the buyer per contracts line such and such. And then you would send it off to both your escrow company and the listing agent at the same time. And those funds then would be released typically to the buyer immediately.
So I did it right. Woo!
Woohoo! Yay! Awesome. I definitely do not give legal advice. Make sure that you, basically, if you get calls like that where parties want to cancel, you can make statements such as, I highly recommend that you consult with a real estate attorney before giving me direction. and make sure that real estate attorney is in the state of Arizona so they know Arizona law. And then call me back and give me direction of how you want to proceed, because there could be recourse, especially if it's a buyer, and there could be recourse by the seller coming after you for non-performance and damages. So please consult with a real estate attorney and then get back to me and let me know what directions you want me to follow. And then if they say, okay, I've talked to a real estate attorney, I want you to cancel, and say, okay, you understand the legal ramifications. Yes, I do. So then you put together the cancellation. It's a disclosure notification. It's unilateral. Buyer hereby unilaterally cancels this purchase contract. Earnest money shall be returned to buyer, because if you're protecting the buyer, you have to ask for it, unless they are willing to give it up. And then you could, whichever way they go, you could put that on the disclosure notification, and then send it both over to the agent and escrow at the same time, and then they will deal with that. But make sure it's in writing, make sure it's signed by your client. Both parties do not have to agree to cancel escrow. Anybody can unilaterally cancel an escrow. They just need to understand their legal ramifications for doing so. And it's a tough gig. It's a scary time, and who knows what's going to happen to them in the future. Questions on that one?
Good stuff. Well, thank you, Jody. Guys, anything else for it? We got a couple more minutes, and let's take advantage of these times before you jump on your prospecting calls. Or I asked if you want to tomorrow, make sure you have a couple of opportunities or something that's come up in the past you didn't quite know how to traverse, or you had some questions on. Bring those to these calls, and let's work through them as a group, because it may help answer questions to someone else's dilemma, or give some insight or some creative coloring into the picture that we may not have seen otherwise. So today was a good class. Anyone pick up something cool?
Did, for sure.
Awesome. Now, guys, this is how we practice here, is how we participate out there, right?
Yes.
So let's make sure we're doing everything we can to make the most of these time slots. Stay productive, stay action oriented, and stay in productivity. So let's make sure that we're always moving towards our goals, and just have those goals written out. The one thing that's what Jay was talking about this morning is pretty fantastic. So if you go to that site, theonething.com, so the1thing.com, they have a 411 and a GPS form you guys can fill out. Those are really cool things to have out in front of you. And just to prove that I speak as I talk, because I dropped on the ground, my GPSs, my one thing, are on my metallic board next to my desk. And as I'm on these calls, I look at them. So my goals are always out in front of me. The plan of attack is always there. So have a goal for the call, have a goal for the appointment, have a goal for the class. And as long as you have the goal out in front of you, you guys can achieve them. So thank you for asking some great questions. Jody, thank you so much for filling us some awesome feedback on that one. And guys, let's rewatch this video. If you have contracts that are out there, go bulletproof them. Go make sure you talk to the lender, talk to title, talk to the inspectors, talk to everybody. Make sure that everything is in line. I don't want any of you guys getting to 3 or 4 days before closing and having this happen. So I do appreciate everyone's calls on these, because no one wants a DFT, because it's money that we usually already spend in our brain. So let's make sure we bulletproof our transactions.
That being said, do not spend it in your brain regardless. You should do that.
You're right.
Learn from
Right.
Big Dan and myself. Not do that.
Cut your expenses.
Yeah. So awesome, guys. Well, thank you for this. Happy Monday. It's a great day to be a realtor here in Arizona. Let's go do something great.
Okay, thank you.
See you guys.